This is the Flower of Freedom, and I'm Deborah Reeves. You sometimes see me post as Deborah Smith, which was my former name. This is Chapter 44, The Unpacking, and as always, all rights to the presentation and the book are reserved. Take your seat, it's all set for you. Glad you're here. Here we go. As Aki unpacked the suitcase, he caught the fragrance of her perfume once more, and he felt a slight bulge in the lining of the case. He remembered how often he had observed Paulette slide her journal into the pocket she routinely had created in the lining of each new suitcase to conceal her private thoughts. He pulled it free of the hidden pocket, and then he realized that the police in Buenos Aires might not have noticed it when they did their search. Paulette had kept that journal for many years. Many years ago, her therapist had told her to write down her experiences so that they could be remembered accurately and then synthesized. Aki only meant to place the journal into the closet, but it fell at his feet and it opened to Paulette's final entry. He picked it up, and his eyes fell on the name Hans Schmidt. He began to read Paulette's spidery script. The final entry was dated after anyone thought that she had been in the hotel room. It read, "I was overjoyed when the private investigator gave me his report this morning. It had only taken him 3 days, and he found my Hans, my own Hans Schmidt. I cannot believe that I wasted almost a week before I called that PI. I now have Hans' telephone number and Hans' address. I am so excited. I have missed him so much. I feel that every day since I saw him has gone by like Chinese water torture." Then there was a break, and she said she had written more later. Then it began again. "I went to Hans' house today. I knocked on a door, and I met a young guy who said his name was Jeff Lepstein. He said that Hans was home and that he would go and get him. I was shown into a salon at the front of the house. A young blonde girl came and offered me lemonade. When I was there, I met several girls who appeared to be in their early teen years, all pretty, all blonde, all dressed only in bikinis, and perhaps I flatter myself, but they all look a little bit like I did at that age, the age at which I first met and fell deeply in love with Hans." After a wait of about 5 minutes, Hans came in. He seemed shocked to see me, but not the knock me over with a feather type of joy that I had hoped he would feel, but sort of taken aback, like he'd seen a ghost. It did not go as I hoped it would. A little girl in a pink bikini came looking for him, and he sent her back out gruffly, saying that he was busy. She left in a pout, and she kept his attention until she had padded off down the hallway. He asked me what I wanted and why I had come. I got a bit anxious then. I wanted him to have missed me as I missed him. I started to talk about the past. He told me that he had worked hard to establish a new life and that I should go. I was having difficulty getting him to really remember what we had together, so I started to cast around for any topic to keep his interest. Finally, I told him about a young man who was about 17 who looked so much like him that I thought it was him when I first met the boy. That seemed to pique his interest, and finally I had his attention. He sat with me for a few minutes, and he asked me questions, not about me, but about the boy. I thought it was just a warm-up conversation. What was his name? Where did he live? How did I meet him? How old was he? When I had answered all his questions, I asked him a few and he brushed them off. And he told me that he had a new life that did not include me. I felt desperate to reconnect the way we used to. He told me that I had gotten very old. Offended, I told him that I had gotten no older than he had. He laughed, but it was not the old happy laughter that I remember, but it was a harsh chuckle. He told me that I should go, and he would meet me at 10 p.m. at a specific restaurant near the harbor, and we would catch up. He called me a cab, and when it arrived, I left. I'm still so excited about meeting him tonight. I will finally have him all to myself, and I will make him remember how much he loves me. I know just what I will wear, and I made a point of getting his favorite perfume before I left Paris, Le Bleu by Gauguin. It used to drive him crazy. Maybe that will help him remember. That was the last entry Paulette would ever write in her journal. Aki was shaken. He called Francois to get his opinion about whether or not he should inform the police. When he read the entries to Francois was taken aback. Paulette was in love with the Hans Schmidt? No question, he said. You must call the gendarme and do it right away. I must go. I need to make a call to that rabbi friend of mine. Keep in touch, Aki, he said, and he signed off. So Aki went, and he found the gendarme's card, and he called him at the office right away. The office said that he would come to the penthouse at 7 that night once more. That's the end of this chapter. I'm excited that you're here. Please come back for the next one that's entitled A Little Help from Friends. Your friend Deborah.